Hi everybody, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Doing a video early in the morning and then I'm about to get on the road and go down to Pensacola for the day. Hope I don't get wet. It is just absolutely dark outside. Looks like it's going to rain. Storms predicted, but I need to pick up a new little computer desk today to set myself up a workspace. So I'm going to go. As an old saying used to go, the rain ain't going to melt me. Anyhow, as you guys can see, I'm doing this video today. A little weekend talk is about a successful meditation practice. Just going to kind of talk about my version of that and the benefits of my practice. I do videos every day, so if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you'd do that so you can come back out and check out more content. I do videos on the raw food lifestyle. I do videos on a little bit of plant-based fitness here and there, and then on the weekends I like to go off and talk about my meditation practice and other just various topics. So anyhow, let's get to it. I got to thinking about a successful meditation practice the other day as I was listening to a podcast. Actually, it was a vegan podcast. It was Rich Roll. I rather enjoy his podcast. I listen to it in the gym a lot when I'm in there. And he had this guy named Light Watkins on, who turns out is an African-American meditation teacher from Birmingham, Alabama. And it's quite coincidental, but the day I saw that, if I'd had a little bit more preparation, I'd have thought about going up there. He was in Birmingham, Alabama, I think 2 days ago. He lives on the coast now, LA and New York. But anyhow, he got to talking about a successful meditation practice, and I got to thinking about that. Oh, and by the way, I was so impressed by this guy and just some of his thoughts and whatever, is the very next day I bought his most recent book, which is called Bliss More. But really interesting guy. Check out Light, just like Light Watkins if you get a chance. But he was talking about what a successful meditation practice, and if somebody, you know, by the keywording of meditation has just stumbled in here with some sort of expectations, or like you might even be thinking, well, you know, that's kind of odd terminology, a successful meditation practice. Well, I mean, you know, that I would say a successful meditation practice for anybody is that would be personal to them, how you would measure success. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I measure success on this. The biggest thing that I have, a new benefit, I've dabbled with meditation for a long time in my life. I've had books on meditation for 25 years or so. I was always a reader of meditation, a fan of meditation, but not a practitioner. So once I started practicing, one of the biggest benefits that I've enjoyed from the very beginning, and that defines to me, that's the most defining thing of a successful meditation practice, is how I'm able to take this out of my time that I'm sitting. In other words, how does my practice translate into my everyday life? Am I able to use things in my everyday life? Is this benefiting my everyday life, or is this just something that I do, you know, once or twice a day? Which is not bad either, you know. Like I say, some people may not have you know, they may not have translated it over into everyday life yet, but they still, you know, enjoy the time they sit. So like I say, different than everybody, but for me it's important that I don't just sit, and even if I still my mind, or, you know, have that experience, or just really get into the meditation, it's still about, can I use this? Can I use this in difficult times in my life? Can I use this, you know, when I need to just come back, when I need to clear my mind, when I need to shake things off a little bit? And that's one thing I found I could do. One thing I've really found that's quite fascinating, I saw I can't remember what it was. It was a martial arts movie I saw one time, and the special effects weren't that great. In fact, they were kind of cheesy. They were over exaggerated. But every time this guy would start to fight, or he would try to solve or work things out, everything would go into slow motion. And that's how I kind of try to freeze frame, slow situations down sometime. And that's why I've enjoyed, I'm dabbling in some other types of meditation now, but that's why I've enjoyed the working on the breath and the mindfulness meditation, because it's always of coming back to the breath. And that's the biggest part that I've used in my day-to-day life, is just, you know, anytime there's anxiety, anytime I'm a little bit stressed, anytime I'm dealing with anything, we always know that we can take back control with the breath. That's partly what the meditation practice is that time I feel like I'm putting in sitting, is I'm creating a place within me that I can go to get those reserves, if that makes any sense. Like, it's not like I'm checking out during the day. In other words, like if I have a problem, or if I have some sort of difficulty, if somebody's bugging me, if I'm stressing out, it's not like I'm checking out. It's actually like I'm checking in. It's like I'm going to that little dojo meditation spot within myself at a time when it may not be practical for me to sit down. It may not be practical for me to take even more than about 15 seconds away from what I'm doing. And even if it's just 2 or 3 minutes, it's just checking back in, and it's making that connection with the breath. It's just like immediately going to that sitting practice. It's just like, okay. And it's physiological too. By when we observe the breath, when we pay attention to the breath like that, we slow it down. It just happens. So when I take a step back in my day-to-day life, and I just, you know, connect to that breath just for a minute, most times that, like, imagine a lid. I don't really have situation. I don't want to exaggerate this. I don't really get worked up a whole lot, but for a general analogy, imagine a pot that is starting to boil. It's about to boil. It's getting to that boiling point. It may just pop the top off, boil over everywhere. All you got to do is pull off, you know, just a little bit. Just a little bit to let off that steam. And a lot of times that's really all I need to do to bring myself back to a certain state. Is just go there for a second. You know, it's not even it's not visualization. I was trying to think within myself for a minute there. It's like, do I visualize myself going back to sit? No, it's just very natural. It's like I say, it's just this place that has been created within me, my meditation spot. And when I want to check in there for a minute, I check in there for a minute. You know, like I say, this time around, and I think a lot of these discoveries I've made over the last 6 years since I changed my lifestyle, you know, for some people that may just be here because of the meditation keywording, I stopped drinking about 6 years ago completely after being a 30-year drunk. I became vegan. I became high raw vegan. And, you know, a lot of things started changing in me. One of the biggest things on this meditation practice is I don't measure success. That's ironic by the title, but I don't think in the same terms like I used to. I mean, I don't sit down and evaluate. Like, I don't do a grade on each session. I don't sit down and think like, okay, well, wait a minute. That monkey mind was jumping around. I didn't ever really settle down. I didn't really meditate today because I couldn't get my mind still, and I was thinking about this and I was thinking about that. Consequently, on the other side, if I do have a really good meditation session and things just, you know, really, I slip into it very quickly, the mind quiets down, it's very nice, it's very relaxing. I don't really get all excited about that either and be like, oh my God, the meditation is going great. It's just, you know, it kind of is what it is, and you learn to accept it like that. And therefore, every practice, every time you even put forth any effort, it becomes successful, because that's how I measure it like that. It's time out. It's time out I took for myself. It's time out I took to check in. So, you know, and those means everything about my meditation practice is successful. Now I continue to learn. Will I be satisfied with the things I'm doing now and the way I'm thinking now a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? I think the basic premise of the way I'm thinking will be, because I will always approach this, my meditation practice, with no expectations, no judgment, and not even really bringing a whole lot of baggage about how it's supposed to be. I think that's another thing too that I kind of, this time around, and that's why this has been successful, is I let go of all those how meditation is supposed to be. You're supposed to sit on the floor or this and that. Well, my back bothered me for a while last year. I think it's been getting better. I think I am going to get myself a good meditation cushion and start getting back to the floor some. But just because I enjoy that, not because I feel like that's the only way that I can, you know, truly meditate. Most times I simply sit in a straight back chair, and I even take my pillow and I put it behind me and I sit very straight. But, you know, I'm even listening to Light Watkins, and he's talking about, you know, sometimes you don't even need to sit like that. Just sit like you would normally comfortably tune it, you know. You don't sit like a slob all slouched over, but, you know. But anyhow, yeah, I took the rules out of it. I'm enjoying it. I'm learning it. I'm still like a baby to it. And I don't know. It just brings me a lot of peace in my life. And that's how I started. And that I'll finish this video by just telling you, you know, if you're even remotely interested, don't be intimidated by it. You might be like, well, meditation's not for me. So many people have said that, just like the vegan lifestyle, plant-based lifestyle. Well, I couldn't do it. Well, sure, a lot of people have said that. The way it finally started working for me is when I took all those expectations away and I just decided to show up every day. That's the first step, is just making a commitment to, even if you sit for 1 minute, maybe you're so fidgety you can't even sit for a minute. You go to your place, whether you sit on the floor, whether you have a chair, whatever your method or place or practice is, you go sit in that place. If you sit there for 30 seconds and get up, you showed up. You do it day after day after day. Eventually you'll sit for 2 minutes, you'll sit for 10 minutes, and it grows from there. Take those expectations away, because everybody can, I believe, can get something out of a meditation practice. Some people do it for the spiritual aspects. A lot of business people just do it to have that kind of centering and routine and that place to check in with themselves. It can be spiritual. It can be about the breath. It doesn't have to be, has nothing to do with religion. It doesn't have to be any one particular train of thought. Lots of different methods out there, but I'll tell you, it'll change your life. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.